benje sangye drubaishu sangye chedan zoje chonam la janjo bardo dani japso Nage jinso yebe chonam ye ndola benje sangye drubaishu sangye chedan zoje chonam la janjo bardo dani japso Nage jinso jebe zonam ye ndola benje sangye drubaishu. From now on till enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and by the merit created in this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. From now on till enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and by the merit created in this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. From now until enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and by the merit created in this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings.
One book.
Chris.
Yeah, here I have it too. Wait. 야, 다 좀 된데. 돼 나라 가르쳐서나. 루이진 다게 레남니. 갈바게 취미사. 소신 뛸람 벼반 리부터도 멤버도 이제 소리. 와다티 가르친 거 알잖아. 말한주 솔덴 지오 남den기 다직 가르쳐 버다. 머리 배정왕 지시도 여바테 시도 아니 즉 le nembakan le ta zangen kanji sabai na ya tenda we le de me ten sawa nim cha do yo mares namji na in tuiso le le bi ndigala ni pe gi dibudi ne part mingre che sonre.
There is a verse in Buddha's own sutra or teachings that the karmic action created by any sentient beings, even if it takes 100 eons, once the karmic action or seed is encountered with the factors and conditions, it will ripen, definitely ripen. So this goes back to sort of the current topic. So as mentioned here, living beings or sentient beings, regardless of the nature of karmic action that we created, whether positive or negative, it will definitely yield a result, regardless of timing. And once, as we see in the verse, once it encountered with the factors and conditions, then it will give us the result.
Wata kesan jujure lende sende ke len ro malero ko ngoye ne suji ji nilu yende ginji chade yende ginji indi ko ka malena din dibudi miya gaja tambare soso zangpo chena zangpen dibu dewan jungya dang soso ngemba chena ngamben dibu dungan jungya de ko tape chik lungu tugu mare ribe tugu mare nyo tuyazo di chadiore samlo yabo tangina tendi indigala ngone chik lende shebe kobayang susi chache ngembaden dorni gaji chache zambe thoni jizona neba chuna rangkiba jidenkibaji gaji gatamba yongya chadiore.
So this, the cause and effect precepts or law of causality or law of karma, the understanding here is that it doesn't matter whether you believe in this concept or not, but this is, reality out there. So what this entails is that if you do, positive or virtuous or constructive or good things, the result will be good. And if you create negative activities, or non-virtuous or destructive, the result will be negative or suffering. And so in order to understand that, in this very fundamental concept, we don't need to rely upon scriptures. We don't need to rely upon logic or reasoning. It is something that can be felt or known through our own experiences. So the purpose of the very purpose of this understanding of cause and effect, or law of causality, or law of karma, is with this understanding. So so that we can engage in the whatever activities that actually by nature positive, good thing, and so through creating positive activities, we can bring goodness, happiness, or to oneself as well as for others, while on the same kind of hand, trying to not engage or abstaining in kind of creating or doing negative activities or non-virtuous activities.
렌데기 rakpa de samlo tande eni di thoni junse konjuri yoje hago junse konjuri yoje hago e thoni 신도 konjuri yoje hago e ta tendeki lendela thara mabui jerga ta bayore dine ngayon jon zambulin ba leki sabai na 예 joge eni pe jawa zangpu chena din dibude 즉 추적 하시는 미야 요래 어디 윤리 손에 미야 요래 어디 깔바 갸 손에 미야 동다 손에 미야 요래 어디 대대버도 간데스 되게 알았지 디가라 리티 빠장 몰라 깔바 동다 먹고 돼야 깔바 리티 빠장 원기 빠장 몰 되게 요래 디 미야 차고 말이지 추수 순두고 말 디 인두가 나랑주 단디페 대화신 중국이야 난다 동안지 중국이야나 디 ngame dedu ge lekin dibu cha diyor di indugala le mache bad mite cheba chumisa sede kasang proson oda kumbe dewa du war ma da jen misi jen ke ma oda dus jin de gores.
So cause and effect, the very kind of gross level of understanding is something that we can be known through our own experiences. Cause giving a result, action giving immediate result, and but there are, however, many different levels. The first, the obvious or the easiest thing is what we call gross level of manifested level of cause and effect, and then there are whole another layer which what we call slightly hidden, and then there's another layer which is extremely hidden, the cause and effect understanding, and so the gross level or the manifested level could be when we did something in the morning, we can attain the result after a few hours, maybe after several days. And maybe it might take a lifetime, maybe countless lifetimes or eons, time that we don't know at all. So but definitely it is going to yield a result. So then the question is, how can action that we created will maintain or remain without getting destroyed? And the Buddhist explanation here is they maintain what we call as mental imprints. Or mental imprints and or latencies on the continuity of our consciousness. So, the another way of understanding here is that when we look at the experiences that we have right now, whether it be positive or negative or whatever, with that understanding, we look back and say that this is the result of something that we must have done in the past. And so, with that, we kind of that's what we discussed in one of the 3 points about cause and effect or law of causality. The second one, which is actually, not having to face the consequences of actions you have not done. So you will experience the karmic action, the one only which you have planted the seed, and not you won't experience all kind of karmic experiences that the seed that you haven't planted or that you haven't created the action.
le sende zanganinga pe shingana ji yorze sungdwa kebe wonpo to lamrin ko lama to tende sungdi gala tande mangbo tende ji yana kandisi mingi ore kandisi ngondu kirugo ore sedi gala eni ndode legya penala eni ji kare sungu arzena susungala kangla kompa che yowadang kangi le namin tu che yowa le eni pe top che yowa tangbo mingi reisi nyewa kanda komba kanda se oda du susungda ndode lege bana sosu pagi chawa de je ngala je kang senda nyewo yowa 공부하시고 충분해와 레드 투 충분해와 어다 뉴스전이 리바치니 미인 수도와 어다 또 원에 즉 점년대 랑기 캠비 20만 대인지 수인서 미로에 깨지게 하는 거잖아요. 어다 뉴스전이 니야도 뉴스민이야 그래서 수고하네.
And the karmic actions that we created, therefore, they are going to yield result. When you look at in terms of quantity, in the text like Lamrim stages above, we find it says that it is thick as like a forest. They are limitless, actually karmic seed that we have planted, and now. And now how can they, kind of turn into result or consequences? And in one of the sutra called, the 100 actions, it says that the karmic actions which we are most familiar with. So this mentions 2 points. First is familiarity, and the second is that which is closest to us. So those were the karmic action, which are most strongest will, generate it or experience or come to the surface first. And that's how we kind of experience in terms of, like limitless karmic action that we created and intensive experiencing the result. The strongest, most powerful, most familiar to us will experience first, and then it will go kind of down the list. And we find these kind of sayings in Buddha's own teaching, and therefore, in Buddhist context, it is understood as something a valid statement, not kind of false.
말하는 대나니 니게와 쳐들라 예경 구구와 말에 람경 구구와 말에 와도 투라 규바나진 셈나페 상가경이 차라야 도와 이 람중 부모 개발이야 말에 김밥 부모 개발이야 말에 차라야 도와 인디나 자밥 즉 장고 맞은 영화데 다 내주대와 두고 공부하시고 준비 힘들고 와다 두스 다 강 상패리 지한라 잠바 공나야 니시 공냐 어다지 자주기 생각 파주 하나 자주기 생라 차시든지 핀터야 돼 잠 니시 생인데야 엄미야다 저봐 어저선 제야다 시골 가래도 와 이직딱 오늘 생기지는데 인생가 생라 때네 그 장바지니 공부도 당연히 마도 대충이냐 민도 라마친 첨부 때문에 진행주야 민도 라투이체더니 지 원교 운영주야 개민도 와 어떻게 랑게 베스지 가서 투투지 셈상포디 니제다 장바다 서바다서 디지는 디리던 디기도 뭐지 랑게 베스지 보다 가지 쉬우지도 하지 내라면 되는 민도 와 어떻게 공부하시고 좀 이때 맞아 상담 되지 라초도 와
And many of the experiences about cause and effect we can know, as mentioned before, through our own experiences. The experiences basically talk to us, and prove us that they are something kind of value. So in our own life, there are some things that we don't need to make much effort to study and learn. You spend short time, little effort, we can learn quickly. But then there are other things that we, despite the effort, the large effort or strong effort, or the long time that we have spent, still kind of not able to get it or not able to attain it, and it requires immense effort. So the one reason we can say here is that because the one that we can learn so quickly is because we are already familiar, in some sense. And with this kind of understanding, we can come back to as we always talk about, in doing negative activities or destructive activities or non-virtuous activities, how that we can do it so perfectly, without needing teachers, without kind of it comes so spontaneously, well organized, very systematic, and we don't need to learn how to do bad things, and this happens both with the lay people as well with the ordained monks or nuns. So, because of these are the some problems why even some practitioners who want to be a monk or ordained monks or nun, but can maintain their kind of commitments, and so on the other hand, creating a positive activities. So let alone the altruistic mind or bodhicitta. When we talk more commonly about compassion, love, patience, these are something that, from one understanding, is very difficult to practice, and it's difficult to practice. But at the same time, these are the practices that bring us happiness, what we call happiness, or goodness. And so, unfortunately, these are the things that as you know, we can't buy from the market. We cannot be blessed, these things by spiritual teachers, or neither these can be granted to us by higher beings. So this must be come through our own kind of effort. So therefore, in experiencing or in attaining happiness or joyness or the goodness, it requires effort. Unlike the negative activities that comes more kind of naturally. So familiarity or habitual, it makes a lot of difference. So this is one of the story that Geshe-la said his teacher used to share, typical kind of example that we find in the Buddhist text. A great master, great Indian master, Vasu Bandhu, who actually composed Abhidharmakosh, treatise of knowledge. And not only composing, but later, part of his purification practice, he used to recite the text again and again. And he lives in a cave. So whenever he recites, his text, there used to be a pigeon staying in that cave, and pigeon used to hear until beginning of chapter 4, and then pigeons, fly out to find food. So pigeons always get to listen up to, chapter 4, but not after that. So later, the pigeon, when that pigeon kind of takes rebirth as a human, sort of accidentally, had to, memorize same text that pigeon was hearing. So until chapter 3, there's no problem in the memorization because of familiarity of hearing, every day in the cave. But from chapter 4, it was really difficult because it was totally new thing that pigeon has no familiarity at all. So these are some kind of story that we find on the kind of importance of having a familiarity or getting used to it.
Jipa lecheba chu mizabe tsul sambanis kepar phagre 잠지 남니 게디다 짐바 레진 너버마 kyuiki chichi 미사다 마지바다 테메숭 제담 띵징 야보 레경 다 띵징 야보 세는 너 띵징 야보 좀 된데랑 그 숭레 대양 제네 레퍼 민기루민 젠기 제바 소월 그라메 제담 노알룽레 레남 칼바 양니 취미 자베 앙 소당 뒤 니에나 류진 남라니 디부 따투 그루아니 제 송소 대서 레 펠체와 펠체 마제바당 미테지 취미자베 술남 레퍼 삼나 나베 레람 남 굴롱 순체네 고아징스 karpe gewele nam bepra chakwela setati sungdoada te kar sungware ngara zota nabele lamse ka ranzi mari beli chungwe ani chaso nyomungbi genjiwe lyungaki ta chachote lui nga isunki chachote wata digitela ko chuna nyomong pe 타심바체 가야 대마저는 nyomong 문좀지야 하나 꿀렁 순전히 빼직 가고야 어떻게 순고하래 네 가르치니 가고하래 nyomong 생데 즉 샘기 견되기 샘라도 마지와지 샘 투버지네 샘네 디키 매서긴 차리요래 제장 디키 드위에나 디키 미용근데 미용와 종인데 까고로마도 디키 미용와 종인데 마카가치니 디키 구구두즈니 요야 그런 땡서와니네 매소리 어디 띵드가라 즉 뉴몽 초디 가서 툭툭 가탑지야 가서 툭툭 즉 땡니 가탑지야 어디 누스지니 지구리스 carbogoil le sidigala ta ngune semle dikitingi pena teki kondu juju chamba cewa zopa dikiti ani dewa tingi de chadiore semgi yenden de chadiore jazan semgi yenden yendigala ngaranzu gyula lerung chugiore lerung chudi yena karjini malden barzite 디와텔 용과에 샤디어와 어쨌든 디와 코르게요 말에 코로나 때 또스 산샤 난자제 답에 치식견이 되게 걸어 때 간지 견지리 어떤 딘디 이리가라 디게데 아니베 가서 툭툭 때라 즉 문이 취재다 마서나 깔차지니 가서 툭툭 눈수이지 아니 삼당야 랑기랑라 디와당야 아니 디와 그거 잡마데 디와레 렌지라니 데이터는 베즈제야 그래서 시부지게 전부 자디요로 어떻게 인도가라 가벌레는 배구브리스 매버 잡고라스 이게 레기 나네나 자주기 셈리 뭐지 저번 소초 두기로와이 그로와오 세다다 자주기 셈 세디가라다 배 응원에 자주기 셈 생데 가내지로 오바지고 그래 당황도 냐면 남바상기를 냠는지 세야 돼. 신다. 장주기 셈 좀 붙이 남바니들이. 군소 장주기 셈, 돈다 장주기 셈. 디인디가라 로종 때는 용도와. 상기 탐지 상기 두제때 장주기 셈 담아니라 라레바레스 장주기 셈 남바니데 아니 가 상기 꾸두야 상기 꾸 남바니 두야데 소니 남바니라 라레바레스 소니 남바니데 장주기 셈 남바니라 라레바레스 장주기 셈 남바니데요 아니 베 사와니지라 라레바레스 송도와 어다 디기디 직코 디부는 되게나 유들라 만베바 디부 용에 메바다 깨지게다마 무슨 세루 차디요 어디 띵디가라 즉 오늘 디기틀라 전주기 셈 남바니도 우에나 즉 ngone 니지라 삼당 거래. 어떻게 네가 로존나 가르송도 니제데 당 간데시 니지 때 우르스드가 랑 lungal 민데비 유전진이 능중구도 와. 코로알이 견도 다네. 코로알이 뇌버주와. 때다 집어지수 빼갑네. 랑라 lungal데 민데베진도 제나 lungal 민데베 지수. 젠 lungal 민데베 인두가라 디르베 lungal데 삼노타네. 젠 lungal 견도기 니지데 고구래. 세도 됐습니다. 그래서 오네. 다즉 냠는 정인직다. 삼노땅 통년지나 되게 때 오네. 랍장 오네 장주기 섬종기 담바 레레 랍장주기 섬종기다 즉 된주되는 된디 통용도 오다 되게 개체쇼래 오다 디나 장주기 섬르무지 종원이 또 랍초 두기로와오 냠네 섬전 탐지기 장주기 섬종이 연라도 규와 짜오 세야도 오다 되게 두거래 섬 배문에 로종 때는 마음 둥구도 어다 되게 돼 오늘 게 전부리
If you have a textbook, it's on page 35. Page 35, cause and effect, or the action and their consequences. Page 35, it's in Tibetan text it cites the number, but in English it didn't. So once committed actions do not fade away. So that's the in Tibetan text it says the fourth subtopic of this, the action and consequences, or cause and effect. Once committed actions do not fade away. The especially exalted praise says, the Brahmins say that virtues and misdeeds can be given away and transferred. But you, refers to Buddha Shakyamuni, teach that actions done do not fade away, and actions not done have no consequences. The King of Meditative Stabilization Sutra, also this is sutra or teachings by Buddha himself, also says, it is impossible not to encounter the results of your deeds, but you won't feel the results of those done by others. So that goes back to kind of committed actions do not fade away, and whatever you committed must be experienced by yourself. The Transmissions of Discipline says, another text, even after hundreds of eons, actions are not exhausted. If they meet with the assembled conditions, then embodied beings will meet with their results. So again, kind of regardless of timing, even if it takes countless eons, hundreds of eons, once your karmic seed meet with the conditions and factors, then it will give the result. So remembering the certainty and multiplying nature of karma, that an action not done will yield no result, and that once done an action will not fade away, will obstruct all that give rise to the path of black actions. So black action is a literal translation, refers to negative actions or destructive actions. You must earnestly engage in wide or positive or wholesome wide wholesome actions, and since training in the precious awakening mind is considered to be the principal and supreme virtue, all of them should be part of that training. So it really comes down upon the practicing of the altruistic mind or bodhicitta or awakening mind. So whatever have mentioned or teach here really comes down to this the practice of altruistic mind. And so for that it mentioned here kind of engaging in the wide and wholesome activities. If possible, physically, verbally, mentally, three kind of doors through which we create actions. If possible, one should be engaged in the sort of activity of totally eliminating. If not able to eliminate, the afflictions or negative emotions, the second level would be try to sort of suppress it or kind of dominate it, and including at the level of your motivation, try not to kind of influenced by negative afflictions. And the reason here is again kind of the common sense. Simply wishing happiness doesn't work. If you don't want the suffering or want happiness, you should be going back to the very seed of non-happiness and just remove the seed, and therefore you won't experience the result of that negative seed of suffering. And on the other hand, positive activities, as we always talk about, the positive activities, the positive qualities of the mind, the way they exist is that they exist in such a way that they can be easily attainable within our mind. So if that is the case, why not make kind of some effort and then try to attain those positive qualities? And so this, the awakening mind or bodhicitta or altruistic mind, as we find before, there are two types: relative or conventional, and then ultimate, or absolute altruistic mind. And in the other Buddhist texts, like mind training, we find such as in order to attain the two bodies of Buddha, one must need to accumulate two kinds of positive merits. And to accumulate those two positive merits, one must have kind of two bodhicitta, these two altruistic mind. And in order to have these two, one must really has to have the root of everything, that is a compassionate mind. So in a way, we find kind of compassion as the root of all positive activities. And so again, this kind of entails the cause and effect precepts. If you have the root of compassion, then happiness and good things and all those will come about. If there is no root at all, then expectation of happiness and good things won't happen. And so these kind of instruction are really helpful for true kind of serious practitioners of bodhicitta. And just like in order to free yourself from cyclic existence, what you need is as inevitable requirement, renunciation. And so likewise, to benefit other sentient beings and to help other sentient beings out of compassionate thought, to practice your compassion, you must have that sort of compassion within yourself.
subject to one chain woodwa. What a tampo, chick around to Corena, Pama, Nidu, Drasiade, never your mare, said they never made Sungare. What a tea, Sungudwa. Tampo never maybe Nimi, Sambanese, Corwana, Corvetse, Dranin, Ponsun, Guruan, Sheni, Corvechula, Luete, Chasaka, never, Dully, your jate, Shirinle. Pani Puni, Mani Chumani. Hion Dangurpayan, Nishetan, Udopa Nito Zimbi, Teletu, Croatana, Nepa, Gamachi, say, what? Chick, one in Gubuluki, Tisungua. What a Temasebe, any Punzang Jube, Di Dore, Punzang Jubin Doles, Do, Rigichin and Drayan Zawakiro, Zawayan and Tijin Drayankiro. 대신 카지견이 바마규 바마팅이서니 다얼규 대신 자식규와 리나니 롤덴 파나 남양 참이자 세 년라가베 생기 남도 도네겔라 지질 자버자 저와다 도숭도 때마세베 와다 람림숭에 라마도 숭길라 가르서고 파니 뿌니 많이 충만히 세 와다 디 숭도 가르 때마래 파샤사 지금 말라도 장배 나오고 빵도 그러 수도와 대 오늘 당기 오늘 인지고야 래 말 좀 된데 다 자좀 봐지 아니 배 종교를 배디가라 아니 다 자좀 봐대 다가서 오늘 차야만 오시들 된봐배 종교를 배디가라 아니 김나 종을 배디가라 아니 수수 페이토기 장마 인데 장라데 소시 부구께네 다시니 부구께 랑기 파데 시네 아니 루리께네 루드세네 샤데 자긴데리 요아지 아니 랑기 마데 다 오니 신이 디에네 베 킬레케네 소소 샤자데다 바기 루고를 ngaji 루시 루고를 ngaji 기지도 텔라니 베 어서슈데요 아니 딱 오니 ngaranso 다 레당보 ngaso 손르지기 개왕 마치라 몽데긴지 다 랑기 파카니 개왕남에 파카니 개왕감에 마카니 대하고 아마 개왕남에 자데라 ngaman drache sareta kuran drache sadega phado ni drache sadela ta suse jeju jini su wondegi nuruna jini jete jigowa 그래서 코로나 네바탄 자원이 민도와 오다 티게디 삼로다네 즉 코로나 이진참이야지 그방은 코로나 이진참이야 이진참 맞아지니 가래용 거래 코로나들래 즉 타답지야 민중 단단 가서 동알데 민도나 동알데 타답적으로 맞아 동알데 만다베 다 dunro기 끼고 와 대삼집이 남쪽 고야 그 게임도와 어떤 미 남쪽 젤토니 타탑지 탑시 이어되게 탑란들에 배고 와 탑란데 추고 와 어떻게 쉬우게 지무진 추고 와 어떻게 디리타 간지 네바메바데 두스지네 디기데 삼로당 아니 람림나라 비 로기나 딜리 이게바도가 어떻게 디기디 문에 개침버리
이 차장대 하고 계시다 파자스나 말을 디 타마드 가르 쓰지데 땡데
파샤잔지 말라고 당벤다고 빵도고
디슈고디 쟁은데
디주고디 에마 코라 카렌지 거다 이렇게 생지 거다 다다 쟁니도
the next topic that text deals with is the the drawbacks of cyclic existence or samsara, the drawbacks, and again this is kind of categorized into six subtopic. The first one is the disadvantages of uncertainty. In cyclic existence, relationships with friends and enemies are very changeable. Things of this world are not at all reliable. They are miserable. So the reason why, to understand the uncertainty of, for example, here mentioned about the relationships, is to renounce from cyclic existence with seeing its kind of, basically the fallacies. And so here, the quotation from Nagarjuna's text, a friendly letter, says, "Your father becomes your son, your mother, your wife, and your enemies become friends. The opposite also take place. Therefore, in cyclic existence, there is no certainty at all." The questions of Subahu Sutra, one of the Buddha's own texts, says, "At times enemies turn out to be friends, and similarly friends turn into foes. Likewise, anyone can become your father or mother, and even your parents can become your foes. Because friendship is changeable like this, the intelligent shun attachment. The misconceived thought that relations are pleasant is replaced by the joy of engaging in virtue." So, we can find the same kind of, a statement in such as stages of Pada Lamrim text. The uncertainty when you look at this very kind of short, limited lifetime of our human, lifespan. In Lamrim we find such as mention of, there is a arhat, who is going for, in his with his begging bowl, and he find a family, and when he look at the family, he kind of see how the sort of the big picture of the reincarnation, the previous rebirth. So he saw a kind of and in this and he saw that kind of situation and circumstances, and then he came up with this verse, basically kind of how sad the situation in samsaric beings, and as kind of object of kind of a laughter, when you see the big picture. So he came up with this verse saying that eating the flesh of one's own father, and then feeding of bones to one's mother, and then very kind of caring holding his enemy within his lap. So there was the family in which the family in his previous lifetime, his father was born as sheep, and then what he was doing, he was eating a meat, actually, the meat of that sheep that he just killed, and that sheep used to be in previous life his father, so he was eating the meat of his father, and then his mother was reborn as a dog, and when eating kind of his flesh meat, he was giving a bone to his mother, kind of throwing. And on his lap, he was, kind of really, with full of love, holding his son, whom used to be his kind of, worst enemy in past life. So this kind of, the noble being, when he looked at this picture of previous life and this life, it really kind of, it's a kind of how samsaric beings kind of, it really shows the big images of uncertainty. Of the nature of cyclic existence, and the point here is, again, as mentioned at the beginning, with seeing the nature of cyclic existence, we should be kind of reducing, if possible, eliminating the so kind of negative attachment, craving, to this limited lifetime, and really kind of freeing ourselves from this kind of bondage of a rebirth cycle. Otherwise, just having a feeling of wanting to be free and liberated, that feeling can be even sort of generated by non-human beings. But as a human, we have the ability to not only find the right path, but also follow that path and achieve the objective.
치 다다지 되는 거 공단을 붙이 순어래 치 레니지기 담벤다 다 소수 루틴기 좀 보시나요 치 상한지기 나 자기도 오늘 장외만 인데겐지게 양견 중세지기 배 조금 참고 차네 이용도 다도 나한테 소수 용화이잖아 소수 윤디가라 전심 제야지 단도 유튜브 좀 죽어도 딱 나한테 김번이나 텔레gram 근데 망부도 와 나만 다 인데게 총사 배 지지는 다 진데게 죽고 총사야 뭐 쉬우잖아 류두기 좀 차는데 되는도 와 내가 믿어 와 나인 생인데 내가 땐 자원이 믿어 때문에디글라 달라 당과야 믿어 와 니라 차고야 믿어 와 누구 삼단에 로당님 두야 돼 내가 질 때와 두고 와라. 어다 디조 삼로 야고 고르기나 딱문이 장주기 상나 냠는지 두야지 작어로마도 디조 삼로 걸마도나 오네 니르린 세디 배때기 로션 첨보지리 오네 저는 삼로다나 로션 첨보지리 나랑 주 때문에 대바 준비 최정인이라 대바 준비 최 시드가라 신딘제 또또 신딘제한테 차대로 와 신딘제디 갈라 랑초라 차 인초라 당 제바이나 다 신딘이 민도와 신딘데 가르치 신딘이 신기 냥데인라 시드갈라 신 냥은 시디 동알디 냥은 뇨몽을 자네 딜이 데고라 뇨몽 신 뇨몽을 껴부고라 신 뇨몽을 껴발라 신 펜마마도니 껴야 민도 아니 젤라 아니 배 당심기 랑초텔라 차생께나 디기다 젠더 위랑 게 지지기도 와 어떻게 소문에 이 삼로 당과에 뺏게 전부래
Also in the text by great Master Kongdan Rinpoche, in his text he mentioned about again the same topic, uncertainty of our relationship within this short human lifetime. We can see just kind of usage of one word, we can easily switch our good friends into enemy and good friends into good enemies into friend. And we can see how kind of fluctuating nature, the changeable nature of so-called, the relationship. And the point here is that, if we see the big picture, the entire pictures of cyclic existence, the so-called enemies are not at all the time enemy or by nature. They can be changed at any time. And the people that we are so attached to are by nature, they are not something that is always forever close to. It could be changed at any time under any circumstances. So the point here is, with this understanding of the nature of cyclic existence, we should be developing, the thought of the equanimity, bringing everybody at the same platform. And through that, we can go on to the next levels of the altruistic mind. So what we see here is, the bias mentality is one of the most, fallacies or the problems of the attitude or way of thinking. And especially for the practitioners of great vehicles, from high-end practitioners. And the essence or the main practice in Mahayana practice is benefiting others, the thought of benefiting others. And as long as you have this bias mentality that is close and nice, being nice to people that are close to you, and feeling of kind of hatred, disliking people far away, then that really thought becomes an obstacle in kind of accomplishing what you are supposed to do, to benefit others and help others. Benefiting and helping others means basically helping others to protect from their suffering or separate from their suffering. So this bias mentality becomes very strong obstacles, and this bias mentality actually comes from that kind of a distorted understanding of relationships with systems. We'll take a break here, 15 minutes break.